Hey everyone, my name is KryptoCal and welcome to the next episode of All the Mods 9. In between episodes, we have been busy. First of all, Grace decided that she hated the mystical setup that I had, which is
It was so ugly.
a little hurtful. She decided she wanted to hang these planter style farm plots here instead, which I will agree do look better than what I had before. Apart from that, we've also gone ahead and changed up the bee setup quite a bit, actually. So first of all, the bees are all on this back wall still, but as you will have noticed, this is one solid wall of stone now, and the beehives are actually embedded into the stone. This is actually the exterior wall. Now, we debated about covering it up from the back, but I actually think I kind of like the look of the wall here with the beehives all poking out the back. It kind of looks like almost a bit of a mural or something. And so I think we're actually going to keep that design. The logic cables are all facaded in this wall, but where we're actually doing the processing now is actually quite a bit different. In the middle here, we have a centered area with all of our centrifuges, and they are all being powered and also fed all the honeycombs. If you come underneath here, I can show you the logic behind the setup here. There is some room for some cleanup, and there are some mods that we could use to make this a little bit nicer, but overall, I think with the speed of the resources coming in, I just love using the integrated dynamic stuff because this stuff is really good at handling lots of items. So first of all, what we have here is all of our items are coming down through here where they are first separated at this one little logic gate. Basically, I have this one interface set to a high priority, so all the resources coming in are going to try and first go into this barrel. And the only thing that is accepted in the barrel here is honeycomb blocks, because all of our hives have the upgrades that have the comb block upgrades. We're never going to get anything other than the blocks in here. That's an easy way to filter that. All we had to do is put in a bunch of combs to begin with. I used the slot memory setting, and I just made sure to ignore NBT data, which means that any slot here can be filled with any different honeycomb block. Or if it's a different resource here, it'll automatically get pumped into our input to our storage. I actually added one more storage here. This is the all white network, and it's also just feeding right into our drawers. But effectively, once it separates itself out here, all the combs basically get taken over to our centrifuges. They get centrifuged up, and all of the resources then come down here back into this little setup where I have a drawer controller and also the other ender chest. And again, this one has a higher priority, so everything's going to try and first go into the drawer wall before it actually goes into the ender chest. So currently what we're using the drawer wall here is actually for a filter. So we're filtering all the raw resources that we're getting out. It looks like we have double filtered the uranium for some reason,
Yep.
but all of that is going to be filtered through here. And currently what we have is this is just sending it into the allthemodium furnace, which we had before, which is then sending all of its resources back into storage. Now, in the very near future, we are going to be looking at setting up some ore processing, which is going to help us turn all of our raw ores into even more ingots, which is going to be really cool. But to do that, we're going to have to probably send these raw resources somewhere completely different, where we're going to have the storage, or we're going to have a separate storage, or we're going to have separate processing for that. So what I have here is just a blue ender chest, which is going to be our input to our ore processing. And what we're going to do once we have that set up is all we have to do is change our drawer controller here to send into the blue ender chest instead of the furnace. And that's basically the only change that has to be made down here. And now we're not getting any issues with the slime balls being smelted up and stuff. All of that is taken care of using this filter. And again, there are 101 ways that this could have been done, and even simpler, I'm sure, by using different mods. But I do love using the drawers for filters. They're a really customizable way to filter items, and they're pretty easy and cheap. So those are the main two things that we've done in the apiary in between episodes. The other thing, as you'll see in the most of what the intro montage was, is I've been working hard on getting the castle over here. Obviously this requires a lot more work still, but I am going to be adding a bunch of detail, like using some of the limestone to actually frame out the castle a little nicer. And there's going to be some pillars, and there's going to be ornate details all over. It's going to look amazing. This isn't going to be a one episode project. It's a pretty substantially sized build, so I'm just taking it one step at a time. How I went ahead and built this interior so far is I went and used the builder from RF Tools. Now, what I ended up using was this shape card. Basically what you can do is you can turn the shape card into any type of shape that you want here. So for example, I used a top dome shape that was hollow, and you can set the dimensions here as to what size you want it to be, and then also the offset. So if you want it to be a little bit higher up or further away. And then once I had the dome in here, I kind of just trimmed it a little bit, and I took out the very top layer, which is going to be where the big tower goes. Different mods are going to be used in these 4 separate wings. One of them is probably going to be industrial foregoing. One will probably be for some mechanism or processing. And there's lots of options for what we can fill this with more, but I'm really excited for how this is all coming together. So before we get started with today's episode, we actually have to do something very important. I have to get changed. I'm not wearing any armor. I gotta put my armor back on. Ah, much better. All right, let's head on out here. And we are into our normal clothes.
You look horrifying. Did you sleep well last night?
Thanks for asking. No, I did not.
Oh, I gotta go put my clothes back on. Okay, I'm good.
We are all dressed up and ready to get into some blood magic today. I am dressed up as a cultist or something along those lines, and Grace is dressed up as the sacrifice that we will be needing.
Both a sheep and a traitor.
A match made in... moving swiftly on. So to get into our area where we're going to be starting off with some blood magic, we're going to obviously have to get down to the sewer. Getting down into the sewer the normal way is tedious, and having to go back and forth could be a bit of a pain, so we installed a bit of a small shortcut here. This one frog light is actually an elevator which takes us down into the sewer, and obviously this looks much dreary and darker with no night vision on, but YouTube would not appreciate that, so we're gonna just go ahead and just pretend that this entire area is dull, dreary, and very spooky.
Like
oh,
Knuckles.
and this is Knuckles.
So we have the bee's knees, and then we have bloody Knuckles, because this is where the blood magic happens.
This is where we're gonna be having the main blood altar. So this is actually, this little laid out area here is going to be the size of the finished altar once it's fully upgraded. All right, so first thing that we're going to grab from blood magic is actually the instruction manual. I believe it's called the Sanguine Scientium.
Welcome to blood magic. A lot of stuff isn't yet implemented, so please excuse our dust. What?
So first of all, we need to get ourselves a couple of beginning things. One being the blood altar and the sacrificial knife. And that's where you come in.
I'm making my own killing device.
You can't unalive yourself. You just have to get a little bit silly.
Oh no. Ah!
So here's the blood altar. It looks ominous. If you actually right click with the sacrificial knife beside it, you'll actually notice that blood goes into the altar.
Oh.
But you'll also notice that if you stop
Ow.
doing it, you'll see it starts to drain.
Ow.
It actually will at one point stabilize, because actually I think what it was doing, it was filling its internal buffer. It has a bit of a buffer inside of it, so I think now it will hold steady. That's effectively how we get blood into the altar. That's at least to start off. That's kind of the beginning way of getting blood into here. Now there is something that we're going to want to get called the blood orb. Now this is something that we can craft by putting 1 diamond into a blood altar. It basically is a way to store blood in like almost like a network, like a wireless network of blood. And when you basically craft one up, let's just do that as an example. Let's grab a diamond out of here. There should be plenty of blood in here, so we can actually turn this into the orb, please. Is it just slow?
It's draining. It's draining. Oh, there you go. Yep.
There we go. So now if you right click with that, it should hurt you.
Ow.
But now that's linked to you. So that is like now your blood network.
Yay.
So you can actually fill that now by putting that orb back into the altar, and it'll start to drain even more. So basically what you're doing here is you're filling your blood network with blood. Think of this as just like charging your jetpack or charging a wireless crafting grid. You're charging your network right now.
Of blood.
I need a blood orb as well. Okay, so that's going to be good. Now we have to get into a couple things now. So the main resource that we're looking to craft up in blood magic are called slates. Now there's a bunch of different tiers of these slates. The first tier is made in a tier 1 blood altar. It requires 1,000 life points, what they call it. They don't call it blood, they call it life points or life essence.
Oh.
And to make the first tier of slate, all you have to do is put a piece of stone inside of it, and it will convert it into the most basic tier. And once you start increasing the slate tiers, you basically have to put the previous tier of slate back inside. The more it fills up with blood, the higher tier of slate it becomes. So as a demonstration, let's grab 1 piece of stone out of here, throw it in, and this should convert into a blank slate. Slowly. Very slowly. Aha! Let's give this a little bit more sauce. And yes, I just called it sauce.
tomatoes.
All right, quest complete.
Ooh, I just got a honey bottle as a reward.
Wow, lucky you.
Ooh.
To upgrade the altar, we have to craft up what is called these blank runes, which just require a bunch of the blank slates and some more stone. Now, blood magic makes crafting slates on demand a little bit challenging. So you can craft up whatever slates you want and set the filters for them, but to craft up any slate that you want on demand is actually pretty challenging. So to start off, what we're going to do is set up the most simple of setups by having basically, we'll have a barrel over here. So now all we have to do, I think, effectively is get some pipes, pipe in from one side and one side to the other. And as long as we have our extracts set okay, this should hopefully be exactly what we're going to be wanting here if we place some normal stone inside. So we do have an issue here where it's just going right through the altar and it's just appearing on this side. So the altar isn't smart enough to know that it needs to wait to craft up the slates. So what you have to do actually is set the filter for that. As a demonstration more than anything, what we can do is put this inside here. And these advanced pipe upgrades actually allow you to set filters. So for example, I can come in here now, I can grab stone and I can blacklist the stone, which means that it will never pull stone out of the altar. So if I put stone back inside, it should all come in here. And yeah, now that we're piping items into it, it actually will allow it to fill up with more stone than just like one at a time. So we can actually go ahead and craft up multiple of these slates all at once. But the problem is you're going to actually have to make sure that you don't run out of life essence in here, because if you run out of the life essence while it's crafting, it actually won't craft any of them at all.
Don't worry, I got you. Let's go.
So we do have one slate in here, but we need to have more than that. So we need at least 8 to upgrade the altar to the next tier. We are crafting up 31 at a time here, so this is going to take a while. Now, going forward, if we look down the quest line, just one tier here, there is the Dagger of Sacrifice. That is what you actually use to kill mobs with, to give blood to the altar by killing other mobs. So that's when we can start setting up an automation for if we wanted to have like a little spawner or something dropping mobs in. This is taking forever to craft. I regret everything. No time like the present to start into blood magic, right? That's what my mom always used to say.
Just like Mama used to say. If you ever watch this, I'm so sorry. This is not representative of who I am as a person. Proceeds to stab herself repeatedly. This is dark. We gotta put some like upbeat music behind this so it doesn't seem quite as dark.
I have so much time in the bottle. I can just...
Oh, it's going fast. Wow. Oh, we gotta stab faster.
Oh, it's done. It's done. It's done. Okay. All right. There's 8 blank slates. So now, there we go. So that's how we effectively do this. We should have enough to make 8. There we go. Perfect. And oh, we actually got 1 rune of self-sacrifice. So what these do, Grace, let me just break this. Now that I've built this platform, let's immediately remove it. To upgrade the altar, all we have to do is now, based on what the book was saying, surround it at the bottom like this. And this is going to upgrade this altar to a tier 2 altar. This is going to get quite a bit bigger. If we look forward into the future where we're going to have the higher tier of altars, we're going to have this quite a bit higher than this currently is. It looks like it has to have at least 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has to have 4 blocks below, and then it has to be on the 5th layer. It should have to go right here. And this should actually allow us now to take our iron sword here, place it inside, and this should start converting into what is called the Dagger of Sacrifice. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Nice.
So we're gonna have to set up a way to kind of get mobs in here for us to kill repeatedly to fill the altar. We can either set up a tiny mob farm above here and just drop them down to a 1-block area like a normal mob spawner.
Yep. I'm going to grab one.
Now, one thing I also want to keep in mind here is I don't want the spawner to be running all the time. And I think the way that we can actually go about and automate that is the blood altar can't be observed with a comparator, I think, to determine its level of fill. So currently we're at a power of 6 here on the comparator, and it's about half full. So if I go ahead and kind of fill this up a little bit more, let's get this up to like maybe 8 buckets or so. Yeah, so now the comparator's on a signal of 12. So we can kind of determine how full the blood altar is in terms of having life essence by the signal from the comparator, which we can actually then use to determine whether we want to turn a mob spawner on and off. So we can actually flip a mob spawner on completely automatically when this requires more life essence. A pig spawner? Come on. We love these guys.
I know.
We can't do that to them.
I have an idea.
Oh no. Not the Wandering Trader. And we actually determined that if you spawn the Wandering Trader in, he has random trades that he'll offer you, but you can actually put this inside of a mob spawner and spawn infinite Wandering Traders, and they all have different trades, which is absolutely broken.
Use one of these. Ta-da.
All right, buddy, you're coming with me. We want to get some vector plates out. Just the slowest ones are going to be more than enough. We could even use the, I think there's also something called conveyor belts from mob grinding utils. These actually might even be a little slower. Let's try these. I think the slower these are, the better. All right, so all of these should effectively drop the traders right here onto the setup here. Now, I actually don't even think they have to be on top of the blood altar. I think they could even be like right here. They could be standing like above.
Let's just try it here for now to make sure it works.
All right, let's just drop them down to here then to test it. Now we are going to use the create wireless links to kind of determine whether to turn these off or on. Other than that, this should be working. I'm going to just, as a first test, use a lever though, just to make sure that we don't overflow this.
Oh, they're here.
They're cramming.
I turned it off.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did you just crash the game?
And I don't know if I want these guys right on top of the blood altar because we can't see what's being crafted that way. We're going to actually use something that's really handy, and it's called the entangled blocks. So it's actually from the entangled mod, and it's quite expensive early on. It requires unobtainium, which can be a bit problematic, but we're at a point now where we can afford that. Let's go ahead and craft up one of these ender chests. And there we go. This is our entangled block, and then we have to craft the entangled binder, which is the exact same thing pretty much. Those are the two things that we need. Take a look at this. So what we can do is place the entangled block down here. Say we want this to be any other block in the world. We can just take our binder, shift right click anything like the blood altar, right click on the block, and now this is effectively perfectly simulating the altar. We can pump items in and out of this, and it'll basically just mirror it up here.
Oh, very cool.
So it's basically just acting as that block, just in a different location. So we can actually set up the automation down here then. We can even read like redstone out of this as well. It knows what's inside here. So to get a redstone signal that we're going to want, we can put a lectern down just like so. Now how we're actually going to get the redstone out of the lectern is we have to put a book inside of the lectern, one of the written books. We want it to do basically a flip of a signal. So if we flip the signal now, that basically means that the redstone link right here. All right, so let's place this and make it the exact same network. Effectively, what this should do is if this drops below a certain value, it should auto kick on the redstone link. There's some stone in here, and this should start to drain, hopefully. And hopefully we should start seeing, yes, here they are.
They're drinking potions.
Ah, that is a problem. This is too high. The blood altar is not grabbing them. So we're gonna have to drop this down by at least one more. Uh-oh.
You left it on. Oh gosh, there's so many of them in here.
And they're all invisible.
Go to sleep, go to bed.
This was
this was the best
philosophy.
idea. This was simply...
I thought you were one. It was you.
I was wondering why I got hit. Ow.
Will these guys now be absorbed into the altar? Yes. Okay, so that's the height. The blank slate, now that we're in the tier 2 altar, this is going to turn into the next tier, which is the reinforced slate. Yeah. So
yeah, I have 2 of them.
I just got a bunch of rewards here. I got some self-sacrifice and speed runes.
Also, I was gifted an advanced oak beehive. Woohoo!
Oh, lucky you. Now this I want to make sure this auto shuts off though now.
It's off. Very nice.
Just to give a bit of an overview of the kind of the end goal of what we need to get from blood magic for this to all kind of work for the star. What we need is these reinforced speed runes, and that's pretty much it. But unfortunately, to get these reinforced speed runes, we need some pretty important things from blood magic that are actually quite difficult to get. First of all, each one of these reinforced runes requires 1 ethereal slate, which is the highest tier of slate. They also require 2 of these large bloodstone bricks, which are also crafted up by using some more blood magic materials. And finally, there is this part, the intricate Hellforged part. You have to get these inside of what is a special dungeon from blood magic, but thankfully we can actually produce these very rarely by having one of these hellfire bees. And to get a hellfire bee, 3 of the intricate parts with 1 of the regenerative bee spawn eggs, and those are all made inside of the altar. It's a good idea to kind of keep upgrading our altar as we go, and I think some of the best ones that we can upgrade this with are probably going to be the general runes of sacrifice, because we're killing other mobs.
Whoa, why am I lagging so bad? What the heck is happening, man?
We're gonna have these 2 with a piece of glowstone on top, and then basically the runes are gonna go in all of the 5 long spaces here against the stone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This should hopefully now allow us to craft the higher tier of runes. If we come and take a look, I'll upgrading the altar to the tier 3. So I got a soul snare. I got 2. Nice. But if we put some string in here, we can actually craft up some of this. I place string in here.
I got a rune of sacrifice.
The runes of sacrifice are going to be what we're going to want actually a bunch of. But it looks like to get those, we have to upgrade the blood orb to the apprentice blood orb.
It's done. It's done.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so I have the apprentice blood orb. I can now bind this to myself. And this is what we're actually going to use to craft up more of those runes of sacrifice. And it looks like we're going to need some blank runes and also the reinforced runes. All right, so for them, if we take all of this, I grab all the reinforced slates and the blank runes and also some stone. With our apprentice blood orb, we can craft up a bunch of these runes of sacrifice, 16 to be exact, which is fantastic, actually. I guess we'll have enough here for almost all the sides, but that's going to be a lot better now. Now, every time we kill a villager, it'll give a ton more per hit. Basically, how I like to do blood magic is I like to bulk craft because it's just way easier to bulk craft one type of slate all at once. I think we should upgrade all of these to be more the speed runes to speed this whole thing up. So anyway, that is blood magic, at least the start of it. Yeah, the tier 4 altar requires some of the bloodstone bricks, which require us to get into a certain dungeon and get what's called saturated tau fruit. We're gonna have to set up the ritual to get to that dimension. All right, I'm gonna put the blank slates back in here, Grace, and I'm going to craft up some of the higher tier ones.
No, it's so slow.
I need to do like 32 at least. Sorry. I'm really not sure why it's so slow. I feel like it normally isn't this slow. Okay, so it's the next real life day, and I've been doing a bunch of work around here, tidying this place up a bit. And this looks like a lot has been done as well, but realistically, this is actually still just a tier 3 blood altar. We don't actually have the blocks that we need to actually turn this into a tier 4. And this is basically going to be the entire layout for the tier 5 altar. I just figured I would get the whole thing down so we'd kind of have an idea of what size we're going to be looking at for the altar. I didn't do anything crazy on the design. I just used some deep slate here and the cracked deep slate as well, so that's kind of cool. I also decided to change up how we were automating slates, and I came up with a really cool little design using laser IO. And I haven't finished the entire setup. There's still some things I have to hook up, but I thought I'd run you all through of how I designed this. And it's very straightforward. If I come downstairs here, we have the exact same setup as we had before here, with this kind of reading out the redstone signal here and all that, but this is where all the automation actually is going to happen. So to start off, all of the slates have to start by using stone. So what we're going to have is a drawer here full of stone. I have this one has a downgrade so that it can only hold one stack of stone at a time. In the next little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and actually put in a refined storage access point and basically have this exporting stone directly to the drawer. So this is a laser node from Laser IO, and let me give a bit of an explanation of how this is working. So on the oak drawer side, I have an item card in here from Laser IO, which basically will allow you to send and receive items. Now this is very importantly on channel 1, and all it's doing is extracting 1 stone from the drawer. And I could actually probably have it extract 2. So this is extracting 2 stone at a time every 1 second from the drawer. If I pull out the wrench from Laser IO, which I have in my backpack, we can see that this actually is selected. So these two are actually linked. So what I basically did, if I just come in here, I effectively just shift right click on this laser node and then right clicked on this laser node, and that actually links the two together. So up here on the bottom side, I have 2 item cards here. But first of all, we're going to deal with this first one here, which is the item insertion. And this is also on the exact same channel as the extraction. So basically what's happening here is I am using a counting filter in this item sender to only make sure that only 2 stone are in the altar at a time. That just gives us a little bit more control of how many slates we're producing at a time and what type of slates we're producing. What that's doing is just sending stone directly into the altar, where it will then be converted into the various slates. And on this side here, I have an item extraction, which is also extracting from the exact same side, but we're having this configured to only extract the slates. And that's working because we have this on a separate channel. We have it on channel 2 instead of channel 1. And if we come underneath here, what I have on this side of this exact same node is the channel 2 insertion with another counting filter. Now this is where the magic actually happens, because you normally have to set what slate you want as the filter. So you kind of have to set a static filter as to which slate you want to produce. But the way this is actually set up is it's not an on-the-demand setup. What this is actually doing is it's reading the contents of this barrel, and in this case, it's basically saying only allow 1 stack of blank slates, 1 stack of reinforced slates, and 32 imbued slates in this barrel at any given time. So that means that when the laser node checks to see what is in the barrel, it will always try and put in the lowest tier slate first and then work its way up. So basically, if there's room in this barrel for more blank slates to come in, like there is right now, when this turns into a blank slate, this node will actually extract it out and put it into the barrel. If there is a full stack of blank slates in here, it will see that and say, oh, don't put more blank slates in here. Wait until it's a reinforced slate and then take it out. This is actually a very simple way to keep certain items in stock at all times. If we ever want to do any manual crafting in the altar, which we do want to do for some things, have a lever set on top of the drawer. And what is actually this is reading from is a redstone card. And I'm having this redstone card accept a redstone signal from this side here. This one is on channel 1 for redstone. And how I have this card here configured for the items is it'll only try and extract the stone if the redstone mode is set to low, which means that it has no redstone signal. So currently this is on, which means that I'm not actually extracting anything. But if I turn this off here, then it'll kind of resume its normal routine of trying to automatically craft up slates. And this barrel is basically just storing our slates as is. So what we can actually probably do is maybe set this to be one of the barrels from Sophisticated, and then we could do slot allocation. But for now, this actually is working pretty well. I also changed out a couple of these runes here that used to be the sacrifices on this side, and I realized that we actually didn't need that many because our spawner is pretty quick. So I changed out to be mostly the speed runes on this layer and 1 rune of capacity just to increase the internal buffer of the actual altar. Once we have the stuff to make the tier 4 altar, we can change all these blank runes out to be the speed runes. For now, this is actually pretty quick overall. Much faster than it was before we had all these upgrades, that's for sure. Now that this basically is completely filled up to the amounts that I had it set to, the imbued slates are just staying in the altar and having nowhere else to go. That's because these actually can't go to the next tier until we have upgraded the altar. So these are just going to kind of sit in the altar until we either manually grab them out or we increase the amounts in here. So all that's left to do really is hook in refined storage to export stone right to the barrel. And from here, I might even add a external storage onto this barrel so that we can actually read all of our slates inside here. And we can kind of monitor our stock from anywhere we are. We can also go ahead and take a block of gold and we can actually go and craft up the next tier of blood orb. And that's it. I think that is the magician's blood orb. I do want to come back here and actually make this divination sigil. This will actually allow us to take a look into our network and see how much blood or life essence that we actually have in here. In order to get this, we have to first craft up some of these arcane ashes, which are done inside of an alchemy table, 1 redstone, white dye, gunpowder, and coal, with also the magician's blood orb in here. There we go. So currently we are out of blood to do any more crafting. So we can actually remedy that by just coming up here, placing the blood orb inside here, and that is going to start to fill itself up. So if we come down here, place down our arcane ash, and we can go ahead and use redstone and then the blank slate. And it starts this really cool animation of crafting the sigil. And there we go. We have our divination sigil, which means that we should be able to right click and we can see that we have 19,134 life points in our network. Okay, so the network receiver has been hooked up. I have exporter exporting stone right into this drawer, so it's only going to hold a max of 64. And then on this side, I have this spruce barrel, which I've actually upgraded to be one of the sophisticated barrels. And I have slot allocated all the different slots for the slates. Now, we're going to have the blank slates, reinforced slates, and the imbued slates right now, but then we're going to also have the ethereal and demonic slates. So we're going to have those in the last couple slots here once we get them. But for now, this is going to basically just filter this nicely. So we're going to have 3 stacks of blank slates, always 2 stacks of reinforced, and 1 stack of the imbueds, which I think is probably a pretty good number, just for now at least. In our progression to get to the higher tier of Blood Altar, we have to get to the point where we obtain some of this Tau fruit, because that's what we actually use to craft up these bloodstone bricks. But to get the saturated Tau fruit, we're going to dive into some rituals now, and the one that we're looking for is called the Edge of the Hidden Realm. This one requires 36 total runes, plus the 1 master rune, and also a weak activation crystal to start off the ritual. We have to do that by putting a lava crystal inside of a tier 3 altar, so I think we can craft up a lava crystal right now. I do have a magician's blood orb, and if I put this inside of the altar, this hopefully will use quite a bit of blood, but then it will turn into a weak activation crystal. And there we go. And our villagers are coming back in. Yeah, so this is what we need to activate a low level ritual. We do have, it looks like, just enough reinforced slates already in stock, which is fantastic. All right, so we have 36 ritual stones, and then we need 4 more for the master ritual stone. The only other thing that we need to do is craft up the thing that's actually going to build the ritual for us. To actually craft the ritual up is called the ritual diviner. All of these inscription tools with the different elements, we're going to have to make sure we have those. And those are done by putting various materials inside of the altar. So then we have 4 of these element inscription tools where we can craft up our ritual diviner. Yeah, so where do we want to do this? Inside of this room you've dug out?
Sure.
Can I pull that up and visualize it in the room? I can. Okay, cool. And now I should be able to just place down the master ritual stone and then just right click on this with the diviner. Oh, I had to select which ritual we're going for first. Edge of the hidden realm. There we go. And now I can just right click on the master ritual stone and it builds it for us. All we have to do is now right click with our weak activation crystal, and this should become the gateway to the hidden realm.
Oh, it worked.
To enter the hidden realm, we're just going to basically right click on the inversion pillar and we'll send ourselves in.
Oh, there's so much blood here.
So this kind of acts as like a generative dungeon. So basically what you do is you right click in here and you'll get a couple of these iron keys. Pick a direction you want to go, unlock one of these doors, and you'll spawn in a kind of a room to fight through. There's an actual dungeon that's like this, but it's an endless version of it.
Okay,
Keep
well, let's
on
go,
a
I guess.
lookout for it and we'll get going.
What the heck?
Oh yeah, wait, we have Tau fruit here too. All right, we can go home now. We even had the saturated Tau in here. Oh, that was very lucky.
Yeah, that's what I grabbed.
That normally doesn't happen first try, so we'll take it all. These are ritual stones here that we can maybe grab to bring home, actually. And a free master ritual stone too. Cool. Well, that was a very successful expedition.
Home time.
Now that we have the saturated Tau fruit, that's the important one. We have to craft up the alchemical reaction chamber from blood magic. Let's just put this down somewhere over here for now. So we have to put in a saturated Tau as the kind of the catalyst in here. To craft up the shard itself, we have to have the sanguine reverter. And this is where we're going to have to dive into crafting up the Hellfire Forge. An imbued slate, some shears, iron ingot, and just a piece of stone. But you'll notice that there's the tartaric gem that we have to have in there as well. That is where those soul snares that we had earlier comes into play. Currently, our villagers are dying to entity cramming, but what we can do is throw these soul snares at the villagers. Once we kill them, we should have a bunch of this demon will now. Basically, what you can do is you can craft up the tartaric gems. They basically act as a way to store this demon will in like a necklace of sorts. There we go, that's working. So that's crafting up the first tier of the gem there. Even more demon will.
How do you fill it up?
It's trying to get us to work towards something called the sentient sword. The sentient sword does the job of the soul snares. It drops demon will when you kill mobs, but doesn't require you to snare them first with the soul snares. So as long as you have a gem that can collect the will, all the will automatically get stored in there. Iron sword, and if I put this inside here with the gem, is that how that works?
Oh, you already have will in there.
Okay, so now we have the sentient sword, and this can be enchanted. I just think it does have a durability. We're gonna want to go and put like our apotheosis stuff onto it, probably.
Wandering traitor, get sacrificed. Oh wait, where'd he go? No, where'd he go?
So we have a petty tartaric gem and a pretty strong sentient sword. Now, are these guys not even dropping XP?
Villagers don't drop experience.
Well, they're apparently also not filling up the gem, which is kind of strange. What do we want to have as the egg in there? Let's do a zombie piglin for now. This requires a common tartaric gem though, not the one that we have, which is the petty one. So to upgrade it, you have to keep crafting it with itself. So you have to have, I guess, a second one to upgrade to the next one. So thankfully we both have one each, so we can upgrade each other's. And there yours goes. Nice. And mine's crafting up as well. All right, we have to do that basically one more time, because we have to get that to the at least the common tier, I think.
I have all the materials.
So,
yeah, I have all the materials here.
All right, so now that we have the sanguine reverter, we can place this inside here, and this is actually going to craft up our weak blood shard. Nice. So that used up the 1 Tau fruit that we had in here, and now we have 1 of these weak blood shards, and we can craft that together and make 8 bloodstone bricks, which we then have to place on top of these pillars right here. So that should be our tier 4 altar. All right, so now we can actually take our extra Tau fruit, and that'll make us the last weak blood shard that we need, because now we can turn this into the next tier of the orb. I might have to switch this back to be the villagers, because these guys just don't drop enough blood, I don't think. Yeah, this is draining it's so fast. I can barely even keep up just spamming this. Oh, but it worked. The Master Blood Orb. Okay, so that's perfect. So I can claim this as my own now. All right, so now that we have a tier 4 altar, we basically have to go to the Endless Realm, which is kind of like an endless version of the one that we were just at previously, which is where we're going to find a couple things that we're going to need to get the last items to upgrade our altar to tier 5, but then also to get the items that we're going to need for the star. Mainly being, we have to get some ethereal slates, which we have to make inside of a tier 5 blood altar, but then also we have to get the reinforced speed rune. We require a bunch of these intricate Hellforged parts, which we are going to find in this dimension. This is quite a bit larger than the previous one, so we might have to make this room a little bit larger. Oh, this one doesn't actually have the Endless Realm. We might have to actually upgrade this to the Dusk version to get the tier 2 ritual. This in here. Do we have enough blood? Hopefully we do. And then we need demonic slates. Oh, okay. So we have to actually set up a spot for the demonic slates. All right, so I have 2 demonic slates now, and that was what we needed to use to craft the next tier of diviner. So now we have the Dusk diviner. So we can now switch and hopefully find, if I cycle through these, the pathway to the Endless Realm. That's it. Okay, so I have all the ritual stones here. If I just hold right click to complete this, is it gonna work? All right, so we're ready to go to the Endless Realm. Let's come on here and right click to go on in. So it looks the exact same as last time, a little different. We're gonna pick one direction and kind of keep going in that direction.
Let's go north.
Okay, so this is actually the room that we're looking for, the special dungeon seal. We had a little notice when we came into this room. We've kind of come maybe like, I don't know, 10 rooms or so far. We don't have the key that we need currently to get into this room, which is going to be, I think, the access to the mines, but we can put this down and that way we can at least teleport back here once we do find the room we need. That'll make it a lot easier. Oh, I just opened a door here and I didn't even realize it, but this has a special chest here. I think this has the key that we need. Here we are, the foreman's key. This is the key that accesses the mines. Now that we have that, you should be able to get one too, I think, Grace. Cool. That was so much faster than I was used to it being. This normally takes forever for some reason. Nice. So now we can teleport back to the Waystone if you saved it.
Oh, I didn't.
I think only one of us should have to open this door. So I guess once you're here, I'll give it an open.
Okay.
Ready? Boom.
Oh.
Here we go. Access to the mines. Oh, look at that. I got 4 of them. That is crazy. That is so good.
I got 2 miner's keys.
We're going to need those, and they're expensive to craft. So the more that we can find of those, the better. I mean, we have enough for the bee, at least. Like, we need 3 for the bee. So
yeah,
I have at least enough for 2 bees. That's theoretically, good. We've got what we came for. Like, these were all we needed, really, from here. The only thing we can do is try and find a few more just to craft the bees up right away. So we just go until our miner's keys run out, I guess, and call it good there.
I suppose so.
2 more. Man, luck is so good.
2 more. I got 2 more. Woohoo.
Put luck on your gear, everybody.
I'm being abused by a spider.
Put luck on your gear, everybody.
Yeah, luck on your stuff is really important. It's kind of busted. That went really well.
That was a very successful trip to the Endless Realm, and I think it's basically time that we can head home. All right, so if we take some of the demonite out, or we smelt it directly into ingots, so I'm gonna have to take that over to get those. That's how we're actually gonna upgrade our altar to the tier 5 altar. We should get a bunch of the ingots, which can then be turned into the Hellforged blocks.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3, and 4. But what I actually wanted to do as the last thing that we're going to kind of set up in this episode is going to be the ritual of
a well of suffering.
Well of suffering. Well of suffering. Yes, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So this, I think, is going to be the way we're going to automate blood into our altar. So what we're going to do is keep our setup the exact same, but I'm going to dig down underneath the altar, and basically where we have our setup down here, I'm going to put below this the well of suffering, and I think it's still going to reach no problem because it is quite a long range. Vertical radius is 15 for the damage, and it can reach altar up till 15 vertical radius as well. So as long as we're not 15 blocks away from the altar, we should be good. All right, cool. So let's just go ahead and place this ritual down here. All right, so here is what the well of suffering is going to look like. The master ritual stone down, and then that should be pretty much it. If I right click on this, it should start to build, and it's done. Awesome. So this is not currently active. I have to activate it with a weak blood shard, and it requires 40,000 to activate. And now this should be effectively running. It
They
looks
do.
like they do. And how is it going with the filling?
It's going.
Quite
It's filling pretty well.
It is keeping itself full. And if I check my sigil, I can see that it is going down in LP. We have to keep a certain amount of blood in the master blood orb that I have to basically run the ritual. Once in a while, I'll come down, turn off the slate crafting, and let this thing just sit there in charge for a while. And then we'll basically be good to let this just run in the background. But that was a lot of blood magic in one episode, and I'm actually surprised how much we got through. It all came together pretty nicely. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, I think. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description down below. That's it for me, everybody. I hope you all have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye!